Hello, my name is Tegan Elizabeth. I am a science fiction and urban fantasy writer based in Melbourne, and this is an intro to my small contribution to the Digital Writers Festival, which is happening right now. I'm going to be doing a reading of my short story Glamour, an excerpt of which you can read in the amazing Moss Piglet Journal. It's an experimental sci-fi zine that issue 3 just came out, so that's really cool. Glamour is a story about beauty and love and bright colours and technology. So instead of reading it dressed in my normal clothes, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So the reason I wanted to incorporate cosplay into this reading was because my story is quite visual and raises questions about the relationship between appearance and technology. And I thought it'd be really cool to add an extra layer of meaning through cosplay. So I'll be dressing up as the narrator of this story, who is dealing with a relationship breakdown due to her girlfriend's excessive use of the appearance-altering technology called glamour. But what you can't tell from reading this story, and what I wanted to convey through cosplay, is that after the breakup, the narrator has started using Glamours herself. If you like what you hear and see, I've got a website at teganelizabeth.com, which has links to more of my work. And if you're a writer yourself, I'm also editor of Slink Chunk Press, which is an online publication that promotes diversity in urban fantasy and science fiction, poetry and art. Okay, that's it for the intro. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoy the video. Okay, thanks. Melinda is sitting at my kitchen table, resting a mug of tea on her knees. She has her boots up on the tabletop and is using my Hello Kitty mug, the limited edition one that I had bought in Tokyo City. The boots have plastic charms tied to the zippers, green alien heads, purple ponies, bright yellow smiley faces. She drums her blue fingernails against the pink ceramic and looks up at me without any expectation. Her eyes had been blue the last time I'd seen her. I'm still not quite sure I'm awake. Did you forget something? I ask, squeezing in behind her chair to switch on the coffee machine. From here, I can look down on her soft hair as it spins out, spiralling lightly from the crown of her head like a delicate, symmetrical flower. Today it is a shade of cactus green. Have you heard the news? She asks. She doesn't look up from the paper open across her lap or remove her boots from the table. Not from the newspaper, I say. I start to scroll through my Facebook feed as I fill the kettle. 15 ways to get the most out of your glamour. 10 unlikely hair eye combinations that could blow your mind. New, glamours that can change colours according to your mood. Introductory offer, 2 glamours for the price of 1. I keep scrolling until water is spilling over the kettle spout. Fuck. I drain the excess into a little cactus plant that sits on the shelf above the sink, in between the soap and the dishwashing liquid. The cactus is a pale pony purple. You're going to kill that thing, Melinda says. You know we live in Melbourne, right? Cacti belong in the desert. It's not natural to keep them in the kitchen. I put the kettle on to boil and take out a loaf of bread from the freezer to defrost. I think that I could live very naturally in the desert. I'd like to have all that space to myself, those cowboy movie oranges and greens, and a pale powder sky that I could reach up to and brush my fingertips with. I could build a house, something with windows for walls and an open roof. Melinda turns a page and takes a sip from my mug. Maybe, if I lived in the desert house, she would drive out to see me, and we could eat cactus candy and sleep under the stars, and afterwards I would set that little cactus free. You shouldn't have bought it for me then, I say. I want her to look up from the paper, but she doesn't. Have you heard it? She asks again. The news? She is still drumming her fingernails against the mug, but now they have turned a pale Hello Kitty pink. What news? I slam the bread against the breadboard to break up the frozen pieces that are stuck together. Melinda flinches. She puts down the mug and interlocks her hands so that her arms are hugging her raised, exposed knees. "They're recalling a bunch of Glamours," she says. I pause, holding the bread above the board. "Why?" Melinda fiddles with one of her charms, pulling the zipper up and down by a little plastic alien head. She's wearing rings on all 5 of her fingers. 2 of them I gave to her, a great chunk of powdery rose quartz, desert-coloured, that I told her I had brought back from the rocky surface of Venus, and a coiling copper snake with diamante eyes. One of her pink nails catches in the zipper and tears. "Fuck!" She sucks on it until the nail comes off in her mouth. "There's a defect," she says, chewing on the broken fingernail. I let the bread drop without a loud thud against the board. The crusts of the slices are blue around the edges from the frost. "A defect? What kind of defect?" "People's eyes are bleeding colours." "What? Holy shit!" I gesture to the open page in front of her. "They put that in the newspaper?" "Of course not. You think they put news like this in the Herald Sun? It's definitely a hush-hush thing. But no one can keep anything off the internet." I pick up the Hello Kitty mug and set it into the sink to soak. The milk residue floats to the surface of the soapy water, and I think about what it would be like to cry in colours. If the colours seeping would match the colour of my mood, like mood rings. So it's a conspiracy theory. Melinda lifts her hand. She is going to run it through her hair. I know, because it's what she does when she's frustrated. But this time she stops midway, her fingers caught in the strands, tucked behind her ears. It's a jerk reaction, an electric shock from the brightness. She buries her hand deep in one of her pockets of her hoodie. I turn to put some bread in the toaster. "No, people have been posting videos. On YouTube. It's really happening." "That's sick." "It's true." "Is it though? You know that people can post anything they want on YouTube. It could be doctored footage, like a big hoax or something." "It's not." Melinda logs into YouTube on her iPad. Before the Glamours, Melinda used to have her own YouTube channel. She called it Lindy Lawless, kind of like the actress who played Xena the Warrior Princess on TV. Her videos were mostly makeup tutorials. How to blend eyeshadows, how to draw your own eyebrows on with liquid eyeliner. I remember finding her on a list of 10 makeup queens you need to follow on YouTube. She had mermaid shell green hair and a tongue ring that gave her a lisp. At first, I wasn't sure if she was real. "Do you want some toast?" I asked Melinda. She shakes her head. I pour myself a coffee from the beeping machine, shiny black with a dash of milk, and take a seat opposite her. I feel unstable in my chest, like there's soil in there shifting. I feel moon blue. "Are you sure?" I ask. She nods, cactus hair falling down from in front of her face. She is checking something on her iPad, diamante eyebrows furrowing in concentration. "Can I use your shower?" she asks. "Sure," I say. "You know where it is." Not too long after we met, Melinda and I had our first date in my bathroom. This was well before Glamours were a thing. I met her at the Chemist Warehouse on Sydney Road, where she worked, and helped her pick out hair dye colours, an inky purple and a Barbie doll pink. We walked back to my place, eating takeaway sushi rolls from Coles, and I talked about space the whole time because I was nervous. At home, I put on the radio and mixed us gin and ginger ale, and we danced around in my bathroom for a bit. Then I told her to get changed into her bathing suit and to lie with her neck against the lip of the sink, and that I'd never done this before. While I was washing out the excess dye, I ran my fingers through her mermaid strands, floating in my basin like phosphorescent fins. Touching her bare shoulder, I'd half expected only to feel fuzzy static, the tips of my fingers against thick glass from the computer screen. But she was there, sitting on the edge of my bathtub, and she was soft and bright and real. Melinda locks her iPad screen and goes to the bathroom. I start to gather the dishes, adding the breakfast plate and mugs to the pile already sitting on the edge of the sink. As I fold up the newspaper, I notice that Melinda has changed her iPad lock screen. It used to be a picture of us standing in front of Mount Fuji with our arms around each other and making obnoxious peace signs. Now it's just a stock photo of an exploding nebula with a blue filter. I wonder if she's changed the password too. I listen for the sound of running water. Testimonial number 145, Melinda Law. A freshly edited video sits open in Melinda's iMovie app, waiting patiently to be uploaded. I think it's strange because she hasn't posted a video on YouTube for almost 6 months. I know because I'm still subscribed to her channel. Even after we started dating, and I could feel her lying next to me in my very real life bed with our feet touching and her hand on the small of my back, I still watched all of her videos. Why did you stop? I'd asked her after she started using the Glamours. I'd like your videos. Because no one uses makeup or nail polish or hair dye anymore. Why would they bother with it now that anyone can get their hands on a Glamour? Not everyone uses Glamours, Mel. Well, they should, because it's easy. It's too easy. I don't like it. What's the point of the sky if it isn't blue, you know? Like anyone could change the colour of the sky. But you should try it. A Glamour. I bet if you tried it, you'd understand it better. Melinda had held a compact out to me. A little hollowed out Polly Pocket that used to be filled with rosy plush powder, but was now filled with the little pulsing squares of translucent paper. All you have to do is slip it under your tongue. It'll disappear like acid paper or those little squares of Listerine they used to make when we were kids. You can have any colour you want. You could have hair like mine. You'd look so beautiful with pink hair. It had always been kind of intimidating, dating a girl who was famous because of her beauty. But at least, before the Glamours, she had let me be part of making her beautiful. That seemed to matter more to me, I think, than how I looked to her. Hello. My name is Melinda Law, although most of you will know me as Lindy Lawless. I know I haven't posted a video in a while, and for that I do really apologise, especially to any fans that I might have upset. I swallow. My mouth is full of pearly moon dust, the kind astronauts kicked up when they stepped all over it. This Melinda still has blue eyes, but they are vivid, not pale like I remember. The thing I always loved about makeup was that it gave me the chance to change myself if I wanted to. Well, now I think I've gone a bit too far. Keep in mind, I've been using Glamours every day for the last 6 months. If you use them less, or have only started using them now, I imagine the effects will be less severe. Okay, here goes. Video Melinda takes a deep breath. She runs her hand through her hair and then holds her palm up to the camera. A slick of acid green adds to a large stain of many colours, the smooth skin pocked by bubbling blisters, some pop to leave small, open sores. I cannot make out the lines on her palms. She presses her thumb into one of the sores hard and bites her lip, scraping a dark layer of plum off soft lip skin and onto her teeth. She cries out in pain, and I feel my chest contract. The brightness begins to leach from the screen, and I cannot tell what colour her tears are. Are they indigo? Cerulean? Violet? Or magenta? They are a shade of purple or a shade of blue, but I cannot tell which. I think they are blue. But it could just be because of my own tears. You shouldn't be watching that. I haven't finished editing it yet. Melinda is standing behind me, watching herself over my shoulder. I turn to look at her, dressed in her army pants and boots and one of my t-shirts. The t-shirt has a picture of a dolphin on it, which I'd always remembered as grey. Melinda's hair is blue now, too, and her face is scrubbed clean. I reached out to take her hand. Her skin looks new. Almost. It's got a sheen to it, something shimmery, like a planet's surface. A large blue planet. You better not, she says. I'm pretty leaky. So we just stand there for a bit, staring at each other's faces. I look right into hers, the same face that is still on the screen. But I don't want to think about what I just saw, about what I just wiped from my eyes, from the back of my hand onto my jeans. So I think instead about the desert house I'm going to build, and about how the moon is kind of like a desert. I think about how Melinda's eyes used to look like moons, and how I told her this once, and how it made her want to kiss me for the first time. I think about how blue moons are rare, but not impossible, and the kitchen fills with the smell of burning toast. Melinda reaches down to one of the charms tied to her boot zipper and pulls off the plastic green alien head. Will you still love me if I look like this? She asks, holding it out for me to take. Only if you love me back, I say. Fuck. Oh, I lost a contact. Ugh. Weird. Look at my eyeball. Look at me.